You water them, you feed them, you give them the perfect amount of sunlight, but the leaves still crisp up, the edges brown, the tips curl. You blame yourself, or you blame the sun, or you quietly decide you just do not have a green thumb. But the hidden killer is not the sun. It is the microscopic wind vortexes created by your balcony railings, disrupting the delicate microclimate your urban microgarden desperately needs. Today, we are going to make them visible. This is the science of invisible windburn, the single most underdiagnosed problem in balcony gardening, and the reason your herbs keep dying no matter what you do. Let's start with something most people never think about. Wind speed increases with elevation. That is basic atmospheric physics. Down at street level, buildings, trees, and parked cars create friction that slows the air. Up on the 8th floor, the 15th floor, the 30th floor, that friction disappears. Near the tops of tall city buildings, wind velocities routinely hit 50 to 150 kilometers per hour. You feel a pleasant breeze on your face and think nothing of it. Your basil is experiencing a Category 1 storm. Here's where it gets truly interesting, and where most gardening advice completely fails you. It is not just that the wind is stronger up high, your balcony is actively making it worse. Engineers at Eindhoven University of Technology have spent decades running computational fluid dynamic simulations on buildings with balconies. What they discovered is remarkable. The presence of balconies increases wind pressure on the building's windward face by over 5%, and on the leeward side by nearly 9%. That sounds modest until you understand what's actually happening at the micro level. Your balcony creates what researchers call flow separation and recirculation zones. Wind hits the edge of your balcony slab, the railing, the parapet wall, and instead of flowing smoothly past, it breaks apart into swirling vortexes. These are miniature versions of the same phenomenon that building engineers worry about with skyscrapers, where coherent vortices form, detach, and create alternating forces. On your balcony, these vortexes are invisible, silent, and devastating to plants. Picture it this way: you place a pot of thyme against the railing because that is where the light is best. Wind hits the railing, splits, curls back on itself, and now that thyme is not sitting in a steady breeze. It is sitting in a turbulent washing machine of air that is constantly stripping moisture from its leaves. The plant cannot even orient itself to the wind because the wind keeps changing direction. This is where the biology becomes heartbreaking. Every leaf on every plant has microscopic openings called stomata. When water exits these stomata during transpiration, it collects in a thin boundary layer of humid air right against the leaf surface. Think of it as a tiny protective blanket of moisture with its own relative humidity microenvironment. In calm conditions, this boundary layer stays put, and the plant regulates its water loss beautifully. Wind destroys that boundary layer. It strips it away and replaces that humid microenvironment with dry air over and over, relentlessly. This process dramatically increases what plant scientists call vapor pressure deficit, or VPD, the difference between the moisture in the air and the moisture the air can hold. The plant responds by pulling more water through its roots, up through the stems, out through the leaves. More than 90% of the water a plant absorbs is lost through transpiration and evapotranspiration. On a turbulent balcony, that number climbs even higher. The plant tries to protect itself. It curls its leaves under, in a stress response growers call clawing. It reduces leaf size and it stunts its own growth. If conditions do not change, the outer leaves brown at the edges and develop marginal necrosis. Eventually, the whole plant takes on that scorched, parched appearance you have been blaming on the sun. Here is the cruel irony. You see the crispy leaves, so you water more. The soil stays wet, and the roots begin to struggle. You have created a plant that is simultaneously dehydrated above ground and drowning below it. So what do you actually do about this? This is where the science of windbreaks becomes your greatest ally, and where most people get it exactly wrong. Your first instinct might be to put up a solid barrier, a board, a panel, a wall of plexiglass. Do not. Research from the Royal Horticultural Society and decades of agricultural wind tunnel studies confirm that solid barriers create a paradox. They deflect wind over the top, and that wind crashes back down just a short distance away, creating even more destructive turbulence. You have made the problem worse. The solution is counterintuitive. You want a barrier that lets wind through. Specifically, you want 50 to 60% porosity, meaning the barrier blocks about half the wind and lets the rest filter through as a gentled, laminar flow. This is the single most important number in balcony wind protection: porosity, 50 to 60%. An effective windbreak with this porosity will reduce wind speed for a distance of up to 10 times its height on the sheltered side. A half-meter screen can protect plants 5 meters downwind. For a balcony herb garden, this translates into practical strategies: bamboo screens, reed fencing, or shade cloth with the right mesh density positioned along the windward edge of your balcony. Not sealed tight, not wide open, half and half. There is an even more elegant approach, and this is where vertical gardening for balcony spaces becomes genuinely brilliant. A living windbreak. Place wind-resistant species in large containers along your most exposed edge. Rosemary, lavender, thyme, boxwood, chives. These plants have evolved to handle wind. Their leaves are small, often waxy or aromatic, with oils that reduce moisture loss. They form a permeable living wall that filters the wind before it reaches your more delicate plants behind them. Layer your arrangement deliberately. Place taller plants near the walls and shorter ones toward the edges. Use corners, which naturally shield plants from multi-directional wind. Here is a small trick that makes a surprising difference. Do not fill your planters to the brim with soil. Leave a gap at the top. That lip creates a tiny wind buffer right at the soil surface, exactly where young seedlings are most vulnerable. For individual plants, wire cages and cloches offer targeted protection. A cloche is a simple transparent dome you place over a plant. It blocks wind while letting light through. It is temporary, it is low-tech, and it works. Some of you have read online that certain herbs are wind resistant and others are not. The University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources program pushes back on this. Their research shows the plants that handle wind best are simply short and flexible, the ones that bend rather than snap. That describes virtually all herbs. None have a dramatic advantage over others in raw wind resistance. The difference is in drought tolerance, leaf structure, and the plant's ability to recover. They do recover. If you catch wind burn early and optimize the environment, most plants bounce back within about a week. Damaged leaves will not heal, but new growth comes in healthy. The plant forgives you. It needs you to understand what was actually happening. So the next time you step onto your balcony and feel that gentle breeze on your skin, remember, your plants are feeling something entirely different. They are standing in a field of invisible vortexes, their protective moisture stripped away dozens of times per minute, fighting a battle you cannot see against an enemy you did not know existed. The fix is not more water, it is not more fertilizer, it is not a different plant, it is a 50-cent piece of reed fencing and knowing where to put it. That is the difference between a balcony gardening failure and a thriving microgarden, 30 stories above the street.